Hello, could you represent yourself?
Sure. My name is Igor. I represent Intel Capital in Russia and CIS countries, responsible for our investment activities in Russia and CIS.
Could you describe your interest in investments for Ukraine and Eastern Europe?
Sure. No, we think Ukraine, Eastern Europe, and Eastern European countries present pretty good opportunities from an investment perspective. There are some hard skills that exist in both countries in terms of algorithm work, software development, etc. We think the entrepreneurship activities are very active, and as a result, we are very interested in looking at opportunities here.
What spheres in this market do you think the most successful will be in next 10 years for investments?
If I knew, I wish I knew, right? We are generally focused on very wide areas of investments, right? From software to internet to infrastructure such as broadband, data centers, etc. We generally think there are several areas which are very interesting in this market. Part of it is infrastructure. Ukraine, things like broadband, data centers are going to continue to develop to keep up with internet growth. This region has historically been very strong in software. There's several success stories of companies that either started in Russia or Ukraine and became large global companies in areas of security, in areas of search, internet search, etc. Right? So, and that's an area that interests us, and of course, internet. Right? So, the number of internet users has been growing dramatically. Advertising spending on the internet has been growing dramatically, and there's a huge number of startups here that are focused on taking advantage of that.
How about the project that already worked? Do you have some?
Projects that already worked? That we invested in or in general?
I mean, the project you have already invested in.
Sure. In Russia, we invested in companies like Yandex. We were invested in companies like Parallels, former SWSoft. In Ukraine, we invested in a company called Freshtel, which builds a WiMAX network in Kyiv and other parts of Ukraine. And all those are success stories, and there are several others.
What is your impression about IDCEE 2010?
I think it's a great conference. I think it's very efficient from me as an investor perspective to meet a lot of startups in one place in a short period of time, so it's very, very helpful and useful for me. And secondly, I'm also happy that something like this is happening in Ukraine, because I know a lot of those events are happening in other parts of Eastern Europe, but I think Ukraine is a great place to have this conference, because there's a huge community here in Ukraine, as well as in Eastern Europe and Russia and things like that.
What interesting startups have you already discovered here?
I just got here, so I haven't had a chance to walk around the floor yet. But from what I saw from the agenda, there's a large number of some very interesting companies in the sectors I described. So, but I'm looking forward to take a walk around and meet a lot of the companies.
What would you advise the startups how to represent their startups?
Well, it's a good question, and I think maybe one area where many companies need to learn is how to present themselves to investors, right? And every investor is different in terms of how they're looking at this. What I look for is I want to understand what problem the startup is trying to solve, right? It's more important for me to understand what problem they're trying to solve, how big that problem is, and what assumptions are they making that tell them they can solve this problem. The key criteria for me as an investor to invest in a company that knows what assumptions they need to prove, and they know how much capital they need to prove those assumptions. That's really what it's about.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.